Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Scott Luton and special guest Astrid Aubert here with you on Supply Chain Now. Welcome to today's live stream. Astrid, how you doing today?
Good. I'm really excited about this. Thank you for this invitation. I'm ready for do this.
We have a big conversation today, right?
Yes. Yes, we have. We have an amazing guest. So I'm very excited about this.
Oh, wonderful. If you can't tell, Astrid and I both are excited about a wonderful repeat guest, an extraordinary repeat guest we're having back with us here at Supply Chain Now. Back, as we like to say, by popular demand. So we have Gladis Araujo with Mattel, who's going to be joining us momentarily. Now, Astrid, as you know, we're going to be diving into nearshoring trends, career advice, some of the things that are going on in Ukraine, but some of the good things to help folks in that region, and Astrid, what it means to be a supply chain gladiator. So it should be an intriguing conversation. I'm looking forward to getting that defined, aren't you, Astrid?
Yes, yes. Really excited about this talk with Gladys. So I'm more than ready for learn and to know about her.
Astrid, when I hear the term gladiator, I think of like an armor you got to have on to do supply chain in 2023. But we're going to find out from Gladys. And folks, we want to hear from you as well. So we already got a couple of folks. Hey, I got to go ahead and pull in one, Astrid, because this is my mom. This is Leah Luton. I know she's got a lunch with some friends coming up. So she popped in early. She says, "Hey, Astrid, nice to meet you. Hey, Scott." So Astrid, it's good to have our mom with us here, huh?
Yes, yes. Hello, Mom.
That's right. And Nuria, hello to you from Bristol. I bet that's Bristol. I guess Bristol, North Carolina, maybe. But Nuria, great to have you via LinkedIn. Confirm that. We love connecting dots where our listeners and viewers are tuned in from. But and so we want to hear from y'all. Y'all keep it coming. Astrid, really quick before we get Gladys in here, and we all experience the Gladys Factor because it's coming. And I tell you, you're going to leave here in an hour, and you're going to look so much differently at the rest of your day. You're going to have a spring in your step, I promise. But before we get there, Astrid, I want to give a shout out to all of our friends at Vector Global Logistics, doing great work across the globe. In particular, love the work you are doing with the Logistics with Purpose podcast, Supply Chain Now in Espanol podcast programming. You and Sophia and many others doing great work there. And Astrid, I know you and I both want to invite folks to be part of this Leveraging Logistics for Ukraine initiative. This has been going on for over a year, really created and led by the Vector Global Logistics team, Astrid, Christy, and Maureen, and Enrique, and an ecosystem, a community y'all built. And if I've got the numbers right, Astrid, at least the last numbers I had, over the last year, over 600,000 pounds of humanitarian aid have made it across the Atlantic to families in need in Ukraine, Poland, and elsewhere. Is that right, Astrid?
Yes, you're right, totally right. I'm a witness that this effort make a positive impact to the people who are living in this horrible situation that the world. So I encourage to all the members to join us in this Leveraging Logistic every month and to make a positive impact for them.
Yes, Astrid, that's right. It's just that simple. And so when Astrid's talking about each month, these are planning sessions that drives everything. The next one's May 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We've dropped the link in the chat. And folks, you don't have to commit to give anything to show up at these. You don't even have to say anything. You can show up and just observe and learn. And I'm telling you, you'll leave those meetings with a much better and informed appreciation of what's going on, the tragedy, the need, and you'll be informed on how you can help. And we're going to touch on that later in today's conversation. Astrid, delighted to have you here. We've had, let's see, LK, Larry Klein is with us here today. It's going great, Larry. And let us know where you are today. So, Astrid, have you ever been to South Georgia here in the States?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I need to go soon, hopefully.
We'll have you down there soon. So Larry typically dials in from what is the town down? Larry, you're gonna have to refresh my memory. The town down in South Georgia. I always mispronounce it. But anyway, great to have you back and let us know where you're tuned in from. And of course, Clay Phillips, the Diesel, is back with us. Welcome all. Excited to reminisce on childhood toys. We might just do that. D. We'll see how it goes. But Astrid, I am ready. I bet you are.
Yes, I am.
You ready to bring Gladys in?
Yes, of course. Let's do it.
Well, all right. So Larry got back to us. Albany, I think is how I pronounce it. Larry, check me there. Albany, Georgia, down in real South Georgia, just above the Florida border. There's some great manufacturing plants and people down in that part of where it's gorgeous too. So, Larry, hope you're well. All right. So, as promised, Astrid, we have a big guest here today, a repeat guest, one of our faves. I'm so glad we had to go through her rock and roll agent to get her booked. But so glad I'm going to welcome in Gladis Araujo, Global Supply Chain Strategy Vice President with Mattel.
Gladys. Hello.
It is so good to see you. We've enjoyed the pre-show conversations. I was delighted to meet you through our dear mutual friend, Allison Krejci Giddens, a year and some change ago. Allison's a dynamo too. But Gladys, so great to have you here today.
It's my pleasure to be here again in Supply Chain Now. I'm so excited for that conversation.
Well, Astrid, we got so much to tackle with Gladys today, but hey, we're going to have a little fun first, right?
Okay.
And so for Gladys and Astrid and Jessica, who's tuned in from Akron, Ohio, Larry, you down in Albany, Clay, we're going to talk dessert first. We're going to have a fun little warm-up question. We're going to make folks hungry. So, Astrid and Gladys, it is today, it's National Peach Cobbler Day here in the U.S. Oh. And I got to tell you, I love this stuff, but I got to have it with vanilla ice cream, or you can have it back. And I only eat it with ice cream. So with that as a backdrop, and Gladys, I'll start with you here. What is your favorite dessert?
Chocolate cake.
Okay, chocolate cake. And do you have to eat yours with ice cream?
I would love to with vanilla ice cream. Would be lovely. And of course, with a Diet Coke,
yes.
to balance the calories.
That's right, Gladys. I love how you think. Astrid, that's going to be tough to top. What's one of your favorite desserts, Astrid?
The same than Gladys, chocolate in all formats, drinking, dessert, bites, everything but chocolate.
So y'all like this? So I'm a big dark chocolate fan. I love dark chocolate. Astrid, is that a winner in your book?
Yes.
Dark and Gladys, are you a dark chocolate fan as well?
Used to be my favorite dark chocolate. Now I switch to milk chocolate.
Okay. All right. Well, now that y'all really made me hungry, let's do this a little more. So Amanda says, and yeah, she's great at making a delicious peach cobbler. She uses her mom, Val. Mom's name is Val, famous recipe. And yes, Amanda, don't make any tonight. We've already I've been cheating on my diet all week. We can't make any. Larry says red velvet cake and black coffee. Huh. Hey, Josh Goody's with us from the West Coast up in beautiful Seattle. Josh, hope you're well. He says Dutch oven, German chocolate cobbler with cherries. Oh, man. All right. So as promised, we made everybody hungry. Astrid and Gladys. So Astrid, as we switch from all these desserts that we can't have too often to kind of some of the key topics we're going to be walking through with Gladys and everyone, where are we starting with Gladys today, Astrid?
How about if I ask Gladys, what are you doing in Mattel? Tell us about what you do.
I am having a lot of fun. No, just to give you a little bit of background for the audience, Mattel is #1 toy company in the world. We have over 400 amazing brands, and our iconic brands is Barbie, Hot Wheels, American Girl, Fisher Price, and we are so excited because you have to put it in your calendar, July 21st.
Okay.
It's coming, our first movie of Barbie with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. Yeah. Then it's a lot of exciting going on in the company, and I know in the world about this. And also a little bit of background of our industry. Our industry is highly regulated because our customers are the most vulnerable that you can have. That is a baby and a children. And you have like 10 industries in one because you have to think about toys. The basic is chemical industry because we have resins and pigments transformation, but we have electrical industry, electronics, including Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, the fashion. Barbie is all about fashion, sewing, food, because we have many things that are mouthable for the kids, cosmetics, even furniture for babies, and automotive. Then what is happening in our industry is, besides having our toy industry requirements, we have in top all different industry requirements, could be UL, FDA, and so on. And even we share same of the suppliers that in this industry, many of our people listening today are also facing challenges with many of them as well. And what I do here, I have been having fun for over 25 years. In, I would say, end-to-end supply chain. It's like being in 4 or 5 different companies, working in different parts of the world, enjoying working with multicultural teams. If I can put it in 4 buckets, will be logistics and planning, sourcing and supplier development, manufacturing engineering, and very heavily in quality and compliance. And of course, along those lines is also about opening new markets in terms of contract manufacturing in India, Brazil, nowadays in Mexico and South America, integrating new business when we acquire new companies, or opening new manufacturing facilities or turnaround facilities whenever it's necessary. Then I'm having a lot of fun working globally with many different initiatives. Nowadays, in terms of a strategy, is all about digital transformation, I think, as everyone else in the audience, and also about nearshoring initiatives. But we can say it, bottom line is developing a resilient and a supply chain with a lot of agility. That's a little bit about me.
Wow.
Gladys, man. So Astrid, did you hear there? The Gladis Factor has gone global, right?
I know.
And clearly she doesn't get any sleep at night. Did you hear everything that she's got, that she's driving and working and leading at Mattel? I want to go back to one point though, Astrid and Gladys, because let's see here. As Catherine points out, she's really excited for that movie, first ever, if I heard that right, July 21st. Is that right, Gladys?
Correct. All theaters globally.
Okay.
I know. I love the marketing campaign that you make with the filters in Instagram with the Barbie background.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing campaign. Congratulations.
Yeah, that has been viral. Everyone wants to have their background, and everyone is putting their Barbie background and so on. It has been an amazing process.
Well, so clearly the Barbie is one of those iconic toys that has impacted so many folks, kind of what Clay was saying earlier. So I'm going to call Clay out. So Clay, if there are any Mattel toys in particular that really you remember from your childhood, or any of our listeners, y'all drop them in the chat. We'd love to share those with Gladys and Astrid. Okay. So with that, we've done some great level setting. We've made everybody hungry, and we filled everybody in with all the cool things that Gladys is up to. So I'm going to share a couple comments, and then we're going to drive into talking about supply chain gladiators. So, but I got to share some of these great comments here. Jessica's a big fan. Those peaches we talked about. Now, she likes pumpkin pie. Now, I used to love pumpkin pie as a kid. Not so much anymore. But Jessica, maybe I'm making it wrong. Let's see here. Larry says, excellent peach cobbler needs no ice cream. Okay. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Let's see. Donna, peach cobbler is great, but give me a blackberry cobbler with vanilla ice cream. Man, sounds delicious. And Nuria, Sasher cake. I might be saying that wrong. Let us know what's in that. That's a new one for me, Nuria. Thank you for sharing and making us hungry. Okay. So Gladys, so much to get to with you and Astrid, and so little time. Astrid and I both want to kind of pick your brain. I love the supply chain gladiator, global supply chain gladiator, that message and that kind of the image that it paints in your mind. What do you think makes up a global supply chain gladiator, Gladys?
Yes. In VUCA time that we are living today, high volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, I feel like everyone in supply chain, we are a gladiator. But let's talk a little bit about what a gladiator means in my context. If you have ever watched a movie of a gladiator or a TV series, what you see is they have a lot of challenges. They have psychological challenge, they have physical challenge, they are facing different opponents. They never know what is going to be coming. There is a lot of uncertainty and a certain degree lack of control. What is going to be coming out? They have limited resources and they are under high pressure to perform for the audience mainly, and they play hard in terms on favorable conditions that they are dealing with. And also they need to have a lot of preparation, not only physical, also mentally, and they need to be very skilled and a strategy mindset. They need to be good on different type of weapons. I feel like it's like in our supply chain environment, it's our toolkit. Then I have my toolkit. I don't know what is going to be happening, but I'm going to be thinking fast strategy, and I'm going to be picking and choosing what is appropriate in that moment for fighting back. And also gladiators sometimes or many times they play they fight for their life as a team, and they call familia. Then the familia is they help each other and support each other in the arena. And it's where I feel more connected, because I think in terms of leadership, the way I identify myself is I always use this acronym that is CSR, that you need to be in the arena with your people, supporting them, not sitting in the office or somewhere else.
Yep.
Really understanding what are the challenges that they are facing, helping with the strategy, helping to provide the right tools that they may need to be using, thinking ahead. Then what I meant with the CSR is number one is truly connecting with your people in terms of your mind and your heart, yep. Listening to them, communicating what we are looking for. That's the C. S is about supporting them, whatever they need. We as leaders, we need to serve them, because if they are successful, we are successful, our business is successful, and right. The environment is an environment of trust and empathy. That is the new leadership that we need to play in a book at time. And R is for me the recognition. And I put high value on the moral recognition. It doesn't need to be like monetary or fancy, just a photo, a recognition, a pitch or something, or a hamburger with the team together. But if you have one goal at a time, you will be reaching each goal and recognizing at every step of the process. Then you create an environment that is easy to succeed and face the challenges that nowadays is everywhere.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. So if you're keeping track at home, this CSR, connecting, supporting, and recognizing, man, those are great words and a mantra to live by. But Astrid, now Gladys shared a lot of it resonated with me. She talked about the high pressure that our global supply chain workforce is under, and we got to recognize that as leaders, because there's lots of burnout, right? We got to find ways to making the jobs easier and letting our people who want to be successful, enabling and empowering them to be successful. That's also part of our leadership responsibility. But Astrid, what's one thing that made up Gladys's gladiator definition that really resonated with you?
Well, a lot of things. Everything that you already shared with us make me a lot of sense. But first of all, will be the agility to adapt to the changes, to have a very good and clear communication with the team, yep. Clients, and also suppliers maybe. And also to have a very clear objective, to make a correct strategy to follow up. And of course, the cherry of the pie, yes. Will be the recognition that everyone needs the recognition to make and improve a better work.
Astrid, yes. And I love how you finished there, because as Gladys mentioned, it could be as simple as grabbing a hamburger and sitting down with your people and really, celebrating and getting to know them and spending some time with them, right? Now, there's got to be bacon on that hamburger though, folks. I'm telling you, bacon and cheese. All right. So what a great start already, Gladys. I'm telling y'all, the Gladys Factor is alive and well. Let me share a couple comments here. And man, everybody's reminiscing. Larry and Clay's talking about Hot Wheels, and Donna's talking about, hey, she's in her 60s, but she's still got to have her Barbies. Jessica says her boys love the Hot Wheels, but she's got fond memories of Mr. Potato Head. Clay talks about Uno. My kids they'd play Uno like every day. Yeah. And then Nuria, ask and ye shall receive. She's talking about, we talked about sasher cake. That's Nuria says, dense chocolate cake with a thin layer of apricot jam in between, 2 halves coated in dark chocolate icing on top and sides. Wow. Okay. Toys and desserts and supply chain leadership. You can't go wrong with those things. So let's keep moving forward. So Gladys and folks, if you don't follow Gladys and Astrid for that matter, but Gladys loves, she's you should have heard her travels as we were getting on the pre-show. She's going a lot of places, leading, engaging, you name it. And she's a great person to connect with and follow on social. We'll have to make that easy for folks. But Gladys, I saw one of your recent LinkedIn posts. You talked about this wow moment that you had while you were speaking at a conference in Amsterdam. So tell us what that wow moment was related to leadership skills required to navigating these VUCA times, huh?
Yeah, the VUCA time. Yeah, the topic was about how to leverage inflation in this challenging time, as you say, the VUCA time. And what I was sharing to the audience, there are many business models out there from different well-known companies about how to build a resilient and agility in your supply chain. And what I see and what I read, and I think everyone in this room is taking those actions, like having a stock inventory, developing alternative routes, having alternative warehouses and alternative suppliers and so on. And facing now the inflation, the scarcity of resources, the high cost of many of our raw materials for very long, and of course other collateral issues like the war and also political situations around the globe, COVID or many other type of viruses happening, then I see that everything is like adding cost. And then we cannot, as suppliers of the world, for saying, continue increasing our because of our products. It's going to be a point that no one will buy your products because it's insane. Then we need to find ways to leverage that cost in a way that we continue succeeding in the market. Then what I was telling them, in those business models, there are 2 elements that I think can help us balance this out. One is about localization and nearshoring, and the second one is about collaboration. And that's where I'm going to be focusing right now. Later, we can talk about nearshoring. Then I was talking to them, and I will tell you why it was a wow moment in a minute, is that in terms of cost, it's not more about the unit cost anymore. It's about the total cost optimization, but I will be adding collaborative total cost optimization. And the way I see it is the way we can overcome many of these challenges, because this includes also our responsibility for sustainability and also our responsibility for ESG. That many people, it's also adding more costs, more constraints, and more challenges. Then some of the examples that we were discussing, and that's when the wow moment it was happening, it was like an open discussion with the audience about how we can, and how many of these companies, there are worldwide companies such as Mattel, they have been using collaboration as a key strength. And the way I see it, the new rule of the game in supply chain is collaboration. Collaboration, of course, internally needs to be happening. If you're still working in a silo, you must need to fix it. If you don't know how to fix it, just call me. And then you need to go beyond the full ecosystem, your logistics, your competition, associations, cluster, the government. Sometimes, let's say you are looking for a sustainable material, but no one will produce or make a plan just for you. Then maybe you need to partner with your competition or with other in the automotive industry. And then you will have the volume to have that sustainable material at a cost-effective price for the manufacturing and the consumers. And also we were exploring, kind of brainstorming all the different factors beyond the unit price that is in the end-to-end value network, logistics, packaging that we need to take a look. But what I was telling them, where I see the most of the success and my experience through the years, even before the Buka time, is truly make collaborative events. There could be, some companies call it Kaizen, some companies call it workshops, or you name it. But when I was always having a challenge, let's say we really need to reduce the footprints of packaging. Many of the consumer goods have a lot of packaging. Then is the cost in the product is not sustainable, and also the logistics is going up because you have more weight or more space. Then how to optimize that? I don't care. There are competition, all the suppliers on packaging, all in the same room. Let's figure out what is our 80-20, what are the products that we are selling the most, and they are having the high impact in terms of weight of packaging. And let's figure out how we're going to be redesigning, maintaining the quality and the safety of the product, and let's move on. Putting in the room the full logistic team from end to end, and figuring out what are our gaps, what are our opportunities, what are our mudas, including internal scope 3 in terms of sustainability, and maybe using recyclable packaging. Maybe I'm asking too many deliveries instead of one delivery a month, and it's feasible and it's possible. How can we reduce the number of screws that we are using? Can we standardize the screws instead of having 10 different screws for a toy? Can we have only 1 or 2, and so on? Then once you start in that mood, also inviting the suppliers to be bringing innovations, because
be a part of it.
Our success, their success is our success, and vice versa. Then we have the ultimate goal together of make the business a success in terms of cost and also compliance and sustainability. Then we just need to work together, and I don't see it's happening as we speak, but we need to do it more than ever. That level of collaboration among sharing best practice, sharing opportunities, purchasing consortiums. Maybe when I'm strong in my buying power, someone else is weak, and then we leverage the volume, and then we move on. Then get together with the clusters, get together with the associations, get together with the government, how they can be supportive. Then our role in a way, Scott, is changing as a supply chain. It's not transactional or operational. It has to be more strategic and also more collaborative. Then that's what we were talking about. But what's the wow moment is because I don't know if you have watched the Squid Game Netflix series from Korea. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah, and just for the audience, it's kind of a weird series, but it's very popular because you have always games that you are between the life and death. Then we were watching the game of Talk of Rope.
Yes.
Then you have like a precipice, an infinite precipice. And then we were laughing in terms of making the analogies. Okay, what is the other team representing in the Buka time? What is, you remember the old guy and how everyone needs to be aligned and precise. And if they didn't trust each other in the game, they will be dead. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Then it was that level of trust, and then that we need to move this way. We need to move this way, and then even I feel like the energy of they were like putting a lot of emotion when they were pulling the talk. Like even that rate of emotion is creating that cadence that you need for things to make it happen. Then when we were looking at that, I think 2 minutes episode, then the brainstorming on things that they were doing, things that we can do more, it was flourishing. And then I think we need more of that happening today to succeed.
Agreed. All right. So you shared a lot there. I would love to dive into, I counted about 17 things I want to speak to what you shared, Gladys. We'll have to bring, we're gonna have a Gladis Factor series is what we're gonna build here. Astrid, I'm gonna get you one of your favorite things and maybe one of your favorite leadership skills. But before I do, one of Gladys's earlier points there, she was talking about a Kaizen event or Kaizen Blitz is what we've called those before. And I think what's helpful for folks, I want to really play up one of the things that Gladys said there is it's not a meeting, right? It's not a meeting. There's lots of communication, but there's a lot of focus, right, on a singular problem. There's a lot of communication around defining root cause, right? There's a lot of discussion around the solutions that can work. That they come to one that they're gonna do, and they do it, right? You do it, right? And the action there is the focus and the action there are really important to a Kaizen blitz, whatever you want to call it. It's a great call out, Gladys. Astrid, when we think about these times we're all fighting through together, what's one important element to successful leadership skills in your opinion?
Well, first of all, Gladys, that's why you are a leader. You get it. You know that you need to trust in your team and in your collaborates. And for me, the highlight was that we need to collaborate together to encourage the business to improve. So for me, one of the skills is it will be the trust.
Yes.
That will be one of the highlights, to trust to the others and to have this open mind to get different ideas, and then we can make a good conclusion.
Astrid, that's a great call out, because you might when folks hear trust and being open-minded, they may not think of skills, but those are skills you've got to develop, right? Because sometimes you don't naturally, some folks don't naturally trust. Some folks don't naturally have an open mind, and you got to work those leadership muscles to get to where you can leverage those as accelerants to doing big things. The other thing, Gladys, as you were kind of walking through your response there, that came to my mind, remember back in the 80s, there was a brand of plastic bags that made these iconic blue and blue and yellow make green. It was like these commercials, right? Yes. And Gladys, as you're talking about bringing suppliers in, which is really important. We're seeing more and more of that in the last decade or so, and breaking down those barriers. Sometimes the only way you can make make green is by bringing blue and yellow together. So if you don't bring suppliers in, you're leaving out a certain portion of possible solutions and gains for everybody. So Gladys, we could make a whole series on that last response, I think, Astrid and Gladys. I want to share a couple comments here.
Yeah.
So when we're going back to the Gladiator discussion there, let's see here, get my mouse to work. So hey, sometimes technology just fails us. My mouse just disappeared. I was telling y'all about that in the pre-show, right? Let's see. Islam says, as Gladys was defining gladiators, he goes, I would call them sales managers victims rather than gladiators, right? Because gladiators were having to respond to a lot of that. I love that, Islam. And Larry, I'm gonna read his, since I don't want to cover up Gladys visually. Larry says, good talent needs to feel supported by management, right? You heard that from Gladys and Astrid earlier. If not, Larry says, your gladiators will desert you. Loyalty goes both ways. Top talent won't stay in a situation based on loyalty that common sense would tell them to leave. Larry says, my last center has seen key leaders depart, to include himself, to this reality, this lack of loyalty. That's there's so many layers of the onion here, but that loyalty does go both ways, right? I believe, Gladys and Astrid. All right, so let's get back to the next topic for Gladys. So Gladys, you already kind of gave us a sneak peek there. You mentioned nearshoring. There's a lot of for a couple of years now. I mean, really, all this is cyclical in many ways, but there's a lot of nearshoring initiatives going on. What's a couple elements, Gladys, when it comes to some of what we're seeing from a nearshoring perspective that you want to call out and share with our listeners and viewers?
Yeah. As I was mentioning before, localization and nearshoring is one of the key strategies to develop resilience, and I will go in a minute more deeper. But I want just to make a parenthesis. When we talk about, we have three elements: onshore, offshore, and nearshoring. And now with Biden, they call friendshoring. And if we use U.S. as our base, will be onshore is bringing business back to America, to U.S. Offshore maybe is manufacturing in Vietnam, India, or far away. And nearshore is manufacturing close to your main market. In this case, could be Canada, could be Mexico, could be South America, as close as possible. And that's what we meant when we said nearshoring. And I think it was Q4 of last year when the Biden administration was putting into the news that now we have the friendshoring. Means, okay, we are looking for nearshoring, but with friends, because all the political issues, they are friends of America. Then this is just kind of a background for the audience. And what I see that is happening, and there are really exciting moments that I think there are plenty of opportunities for the audience here. What is happening is globally, US is by far the largest consumer, the highest GDP, and so on. Then everyone in every part of the world is selling something to US. And also we know that because the war, the energy, the main power, and some constraints with China, then people is looking for nearshoring. And in terms of nearshoring, number one and number two is Vietnam and Mexico, which are the two countries that are flourishing right now. And since I'm Mexican, I can give a little bit of more of background of what I have been seeing and what are the opportunities for the people that is here in the audience. What has been happening is companies from US are moving to Mexico mainly because the main power availability. In Mexico, 70% of our population is between 18 years old and 45 years old. Then there is a big workforce here. Companies from Europe are moving also to Mexico to be closer to United States, and also because they have some constraints in terms of energy or gas or even manpower as well.
Right.
And also there is a big trend in which American corporations are also asking some of their partners in Asia to move closer, because the issues that we were facing during the COVID and these disruptions that we were having interruptions of our supplies, and many of Chinese, Korean, Japanese are moving in Mexico, and high interest also from Southeast Asia. Then what has been happening since a year ago, every single week, there are 2 openings or expansions. And specifically, I will talk about Nuevo León, that is the state that is neighbor to Texas. And I will say that 50% of the increase of the foreign direct investment and the exports from Mexico are coming from Nuevo León. What is the beauty of Nuevo León is they have a highly qualified manpower, because we have 4 of the main universities in Mexico and South America, and then we have over 100,000 engineers. We have very good vocational and technical schools. Then the manpower is here, and the spirit of the people is just very hardworking and entrepreneurship. Then what I'm seeing, including Mattel, our largest mega site is here in Nuevo León. Same for Hershey, same for Lego, same for Hisense, the Korean home appliance company, and you name it, even Qantas. And I think everyone knows what is going on nowadays. The largest manufacturing site from Tesla is going to be located here in Nuevo León. And then what is going to be happening is we are going to be having over 2,500 tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 coming. It's going to be like a city of environment or an ecosystem that goes beyond of manufacturing. You need to have restaurants, you need to have hospitals, you need to have schools, you need to have hotels.
A holistic approach.
A holistic approach. Then what I'm inviting to the audience is thinking about this, because this also carry on challenges. For example, now that I'm working as many others in contract manufacturing, there is external manufacturing of your finished goods. Many of these companies are looking either partnership with someone here and grow, or looking for contract manufacturing, or they are opening their operations. And there are many mechanisms in place to make it easier for the people with partners to make it faster. You just get the kits of your new plant by September with no liability, and you have your operation ready.
Right.
But what I was going to say is to be truly 100% beneficial because everyone knows here with USMCA, it has been very successful. Our free trade agreement among Canada, US, and Mexico is the largest by far in the world. Europe is, EU is $20 trillion. In our case, USMCA is $24, $25 trillion. And it has been established and flourished and growing through the years.
Right.
Then, but what is happening, where I see the opportunities for entrepreneurs that are here, for people who already has a business, is, and that's the challenge that including companies like us, we are having. Let's say we are either putting our manufacturing site in Mexico, or we are having a third-party manufacturer, a contract manufacturing. But then many of us, we have a very long list of raw materials or tooling that we need to manufacture those goods. Then if we don't have the full change integrated or localized, then we still have the same type of constraint. Meaning if I'm still bringing, let's say 50% of my raw materials from China or from India or you name it, then I'm still having the lead times and potentially the localization in full will not work. Right. Then I invite you, we have very well organized in Mexico in terms of clusters by industries, where very easily you can get like the connection of the whole country, just getting into the heads of those clusters. Those clusters have perfectly identified the gaps of what are the raw materials that we are lacking, because they work in collaboration with all these industries, and it's where you have the opportunities, working with the Secretary of Economy or working with the cluster to see if your current business can fit now and flourish here to support this big ecosystem, and or you may want to open something that is missing here. And I was mainly talking about raw materials, but you name it, logistics service, transportation service, warehouse, 4PL, etc. And we are just neighbors, you know. Right. Then I think this is a brilliant opportunity. I will say one in a history time that we have been seeing, maybe since the recession, that I think at least will be lasting 10 years, 5 to 10 years, then we need to take advantage of that.
Once in a lifetime opportunity, folks. There's lots of opportunity across the board for many, as Gladys is pointing out. So Astrid, I want to shift gears here. So Gladys, so much to talk about, so little time. I want to switch gears for the sake of time and go back to Ukraine. And I want to I want to start actually with Astrid as we make this pivot, because I want to bring up this opportunity again. And hey, we're gonna keep shouting this from the mountaintops. There's so much need that folks in need, and we'd love to have you join us. But this as we pivot over to Ukraine, Astrid, this leveraging logistics for Ukraine, what has been your favorite part of working on this humanitarian initiative?
Well, for me, it was a very simple campaign that we sent letters to the Ukrainian people, made it by kids. So personally, I encourage to the school of my kids. So they draw a lot of letters, and we send to the people in Ukraine. So it was a simple action that it makes a positive impact for them. So you don't need to do a big things. You can do small things that it really makes a positive impact for them. Yes,
huge difference. And it goes back to Gladys's CSR, that R, recognizing, trying, and the S, supporting. And Astrid, you make a great point. And Gladys, you may be familiar with this, but they encourage folks across the world really to draw letters and pictures for school children in Ukraine, right? Yeah. Folks are in these combat zones, and they're experiencing just something that most of us thankfully have never been a part of, right? And just brightening their day with just some messages of hope and support and inspiration, and such a great job there with what y'all are doing, and a community of folks that want to help and find a way to help. And folks, we did drop, if you want to be a part of that, we dropped a link there in the chat. Gladys, I know you've been a part of efforts that also support those in need. Ukraine, of course, the people of Poland have been amazing welcoming and finding a way for
Yes.
all these refugees, these families, the displaced people as a result of the Russian aggression. It's just heartbreaking. So Gladys, tell us some things you've been a part of there
Yes,
at
yes.
Support Ukraine.
Yes, I think I would like to bring to the attention of the audience, in case they want to make a difference as a leader. There are two main initiatives that I can share about it. The first one, that I get involved and I invite the people to get involved, and we will provide the links as appropriate. You know, when the conflict started, all the women and the children needed to go out of the country. And they lost their jobs. Then we have very talented women professionals everywhere in the world that they are looking for remote opportunities or face-to-face opportunities in terms of work. Then in European Women's on Board, that I'm an active member, we have a mentorship program in which we are supporting them in terms of maybe upgrading their LinkedIn profile, their CV, making sure that they have the right connections, and helping them to navigate through this difficult time. Just sometimes just to hear someone that is truly listening you with your car, it makes a significant difference. But of course, the ultimate goal is that you help them out to navigate until they find their way of living in the new place wherever they are. The other group that was recently launched, and it's a platform that is open even for companies. It's a partnership. I'm also part of the advisory board of Leaning organization that is founded by Sheryl Sandberg, who used to be former CEO of Meta. And we support women to reach their aspirations in terms of professional and personal development. Then in partnership with McKinsey, there is a platform where we are linking women with employers to have a new life going on. That's one of the initiatives to support women. And then the second initiative that is going on, that just a couple of weeks ago, I was very fortunate to meet Oleg and Elvira. You can see the post in LinkedIn, or I can send also the link. They are part of a consulting firm that they are focused on international trade and development that is called DAI, and they are partnered with USAID, the Economic Resilience Activity for the war. And then if we put it in a simple way, if you see Ukraine, let's say half of the country is in the conflict and fighting every single day, and the other half of the country is still producing and manufacturing goods for the war. And many of the locations that were lost in half of the country, they already successfully, with the support of these agencies, relocated. They provide also support in terms of consulting and make them more profitable. And then they have opportunities for experienced supply chains in the audience, that they want to be an advisor of these SMEs in Ukraine. They can join the program. And secondly, what is very interesting for us in supply chains, that's where I am right now very active, right? Is what is happening is, when the conflict started, I think everyone knows what type of materials I'm talking about, that we were sourcing only from Russia and Ukraine. Then when the conflict started happening, we lost those alternatives. Then now they are back, let's say, kind of in production, and they have been very successful so far. But they are looking for rebuild, let's say, the supply chains in terms of potential buyers, and also they are looking for sourcing raw materials, because some of their original sources disappear, for a saying. Then there is an opportunity in terms of mentorship or consultancy, supporting the SMEs, but also in terms of trading of finished goods as well as raw materials. And that way we can support the economy to continue operating in Ukraine.
So no shortage of ways to jump in.
Yeah. We lost you, Scott. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes. Now you're back.
We're back? Okay. All right. My apologies. I was just adding, there's so many different ways that folks can jump in and support folks in need across Ukraine, across the region, really, in so many different layers and types of needs. So we'll try to, of course, we want y'all to connect with Gladys. She can shed light on a lot of things she just mentioned there. Of course, we also want to invite y'all to be a part of the humanitarian aid, leveraging logistics for Ukraine. The link there is in the chat. Do something. Do something is our challenge on behalf of Gladys and Astrid to all of our listeners. Just do something. Okay. I hate, we're kind of coming down the home stretch here. I want to get your Gladys. You're a fountain of knowledge, a fountain of knowledge. I love it. I told everybody on the front end, the Gladys Factor is alive and well. For perhaps some of our student listeners or folks that are maybe earlier in their careers and they want to be into the executive suite like you, Gladys, be senior executive supply chain leaders across the industry. What's 2 or 3 tips that you'd offer up to them, Gladys?
Yeah, I think somehow we have been talking about them along the program. First of all, you should be a people leader. Whatever transformation, whatever challenge that you have, if you are not a people leader, following the CSR information that I shared, like connecting with the people, creating an environment of trust, supporting them along the way, and recognizing things won't happen. If you hear many of the conference or podcasts, everyone said you can have the best technology, the best state-of-the-art procedures, but people don't accept, they will not follow. And the main challenge I always hear everywhere where I go is change management. But I think it's so easy. It's just connect with your people, support your people, recognize your people, be a people leader, a people that you serve your team. If they succeed, you succeed, and the organization will succeed. That's number one. Number two, as we have been saying today, we are in a VUCA time. The VUCA time will continue for, there is no estimation, maybe the next 20 years, 30 years, it's going to stay here. Then since it's the modus operandum, you need to be a gladiator. We already talked about what is a gladiator. You need to be working in collaboration, and that's the only way to succeed in personal or professional life. Then continue practicing that. And lastly, but not
so Gladys,
okay.
Yeah, hey, it's Murphy's Law is with us here today. It's a global conversation, and it keeps trying to disconnect us. It's not going to happen, Murphy. It's not going to happen.
No, because it was the preparation for my last statement, like the wow moment of today. Like Trump's. Okay, like Trump. You need to embrace a lifelong learning mentality. For me, lifelong learning, we need to have a new series of skills. Automation, technology is advancing so fast. You need to upskilling, reskilling. We are expecting to have at least 6 different careers. You don't know how many times I have been reinventing myself up to now, and I will continue. That curiosity, cultivate curiosity in a way that you are really eager to learn. And this is the only way you will continue improving yourself and your operations, because if not, you are going to be getting behind.
Oh, man. Gladys, I am so glad. I'm so glad. Yeah, Astrid, I'm with you. I'm so glad we saved that to the last part, because beyond the truth in all 3 of those things, it's never too late. There's an optimistic message, a practical optimistic message there. Astrid, out of those 3 things that Gladys shared, what was your favorite?
Collaboration, of course. Collaboration is the key to have a good optimization in everywhere.
Love that. And I would just add, I love that one, of course. The lifelong learner thing, because that means so many different things in so many different ways. And part of that meaning that I heard there, at least what it means to me, is that beyond personally learning, it's also not sitting on your laurels as an organization, right? I think that's human nature. That's it. It's been working forever, for years. Let's not change it. And that's a dangerous way of thinking. And unfortunately, we saw that come to fruition and bite us in many ways these last few years. Okay, folks, man, I told y'all, let's see here. Larry added a few set the example. You are more likely to be followed by your actions instead of your words. Ooh, that's a good one. And going along the third lines of what Gladys said, of being a lifelong learner, Larry says, don't be scared of new technology and listen to your workforce. I love that, Larry. All right, we're getting all kinds of good stuff here. So Gladys and Astrid, I'm going to ask y'all both, actually. Gladys, if folks want to connect with you and learn more about anything you touched on here, or any of the different ways you're serving and leading industry, how can folks connect with you, Gladys?
Yeah, the faster and easiest way will be through LinkedIn. I always answer any LinkedIn request. Then everything that you hear here today that you want to collaborate, know more about it, you are looking for an advice, please don't hesitate and just send me a message. And also many of the initiatives that I have been sharing here, you can find them, very detailed information in my LinkedIn, in my post. And then we continue the conversation. We need to work together. We need to support each other and be optimists. I like that from Scott. That's my learning from you.
We're glad. Hey, I owe you about 5,000 Eureka moments, because that's what you've brought us here. So, but always a pleasure. We're gonna have you back. And by the way, Nuria, you've got a great question there. I'm gonna encourage you to reach out to Gladys, and hopefully y'all can get a cup of coffee and exchange thoughts there. I appreciate that, Nuria.
Sure.
Astrid, all the cool stuff y'all got going on at Vector and the podcast, and most importantly, a lot of the nonprofit purposeful work y'all do. Big fan. I admire y'all. I've shared that with our listeners time and time again. Astrid, how can folks connect with y'all?
Also by LinkedIn is the fastest way, and I'm really active. So just send me a message and I'll be there for sure.
It's just that easy. And as we shared earlier, not only do we share Gladys's direct LinkedIn, y'all one click away from connecting with Gladys. You're also one click away from connecting with Astrid and the team there. So y'all check that out. Man, what a energizing last hour. I want to thank both of you, Gladis Araujo with Mattel. Gladys, thank you so much. The Gladis Factor was alive and well. You brought it by the truckload. Gladys, we're going to do this again soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I enjoy our conversation, as always, with you, Scott and Astrid.
Thank you, Gladys.
And safe travels in your future travels. I know you've been very busy in that regard. Look forward to some pictures there. And Astrid, thank you for your time here today. Had a blast. Safe travels to you as you're in a beautiful city right this minute. But Astrid Aubert with Vector Global Logistics, thank you for joining me here and being my co-host.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this invitation. I really enjoyed to be here.
Awesome. All right, folks. Man, if that doesn't inspire, if that doesn't give you ideas, if that doesn't get some thoughts going and your juices going, you better check your pulse. So check with your doctor. But hey, whatever you do, though, it's about acting on some of the stuff you heard here. Acting, even the smallest actions, the smallest step will move you forward, especially when you put a small step a day and you bring them all together. That's how collectively we move mountains. So Scott Luton challenging all of y'all. Deeds, not words. Take action. Hey, be like these two. Do good. Give forward. Be the change that's needed. And with that said, we'll see you next time right back here on Supply Chain Now. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.